I am waiting for Tony. I've sent him the link. Hopefully he'll be here any minute. And then we can see about his latest EV adventures. I did tell him 12:30. I'm getting like loads of flies crawling on me. Has anyone? This is a strange one as well, right? Has anyone noticed an increase in the number of spiders? I don't know if I'm just going mad, but I swear, like, there's a lot more spiders around at the moment than there always used to be. Right, add. I'm trying to add Tony. Add a person. Send an invite to a guest. WhatsApp. Cool. There we go. 29 people. Right. Tony's ignoring my message, but I've sent an invite to Matt Master as well, just in case he's around, because that'd be quite funny. I think he is flying to New York at the moment. Cool. Welsh Town and Country Pest Services. I'm guessing you get rid of pests in Welsh towns and the countryside. Did you go on the radio? No, I didn't. I did explain that in my last live feed, which was a little 10-minute feed. Tilt the sunroof up. You'll feel the difference. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Makes the light go weird, though. I love this car. This is a really nice car. Geoff, you're in portrait mode. I know. YouTube doesn't allow you to do a collaborative live in horizontal mode, which I find really annoying. Yeah, so increase in spiders. Anyone? Or was it just me? So we're sitting here on, apparently it's EV day, which I find hilarious. Where is your face mask? Yeah, good one. Never did. Never did. Not once. Not once. Not even flying. I printed out many, many business cards, little business cards, and all it had on the business card was the official government guidance on masks. And it was off the government website, and it said the bit that the government says, and I would just hand those out to people, and people would read them and go, oh, basically what the government say, despite all the fear mongering, is if you don't like wearing them, you don't have to. And that was printed off the official government website. So I had 5,000 business cards made up, and I would give them out like candy. Not that we give candy out because we live in the UK, so we call it sweets. So that's what I did, because I refuse to go along with it all. As you well know, always watch you and Tony and Lee. Best advice on YouTube to steer away from EVs. I don't have a problem with EVs. Again, this is what was going viral on my Twitter yesterday. Yes, Tony's coming. Here he is. Electric Carnage is on the way. I think in a minute my screen's going to do something then when he comes in. Are you there, Tony? He's here. He's coming. I can't see him. He's got to turn his camera on. Oh, no, he's gone again. Oh, he's back again. Tony. Maybe Tony's having the signal problems that I normally have. Come on, Tony, what's going on? My screen's just flashing in and out. I'm full screening and then I'm going back. Where is he? He must be here somewhere. Any post about the new Hyundai hydrogen cars? Will this be the future of cars? My major concern is... Oh. Are you there? Tony's here, but he's quite frozen. What's going on, Tony? You just stopped. I can see you in your conservatory. I can see your arm. Oh, he's moving. Movement from Tony. Signal not as good as before. Let me turn my Wi-Fi off now. My Wi-Fi is off. Right. Anyone else? I mean, I don't know what Tony's doing. Right. Well, that was why I was late as well, because I had to drive up the hill. You drive up the hill and then come back on. Tony's here in 12 frames a second. Oh!
Suffered a chainsaw accident, and he he phones me as he was going into shock. I luckily work within the NHS.
Now we're just all in the car with Tony listening to the radio. What is he doing?
That means it started working.
What, when the radio works, it starts working? Because we can hear it.
I've just put my roof down.
What do you mean you put your roof down? What car are you in?
Audi A4 convertible.
I thought you were selling that. Yeah, fair enough. Was that because the used car market is absolute balls and nobody's buying any cars, or did you just decide you like the car? Yeah.
Half a dozen of the other. Right, hang on.
What about that? Before we get on to, I haven't got my birthday hat or my birthday cake, but it's EV Day. So before we do EV Day, did you sell that Estoril Blue 3 Series you had?
Funny enough, I've just been on the phone to CarWow about it.
Oh yeah.
And it's in auction with them.
Nice. All right. Just keep me posted on how that does then. Couple of things I want to talk about today. I guess it's EV Day. Now, if you listen to the media, which neither of us do, if you listen to the media, EVs are selling really, 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 really well. Really well, actually. Really, really well. Everybody wants EVs, according to the media. And I even saw an article on GB News yesterday that said that petrol and diesel, can't hear you over the bonging because you're driving a car that's too new. My car doesn't do that. We are professionals. Yeah,
Yeah, we are. Hang on, right. You got to remember.
Yeah.
I'm in Cornwall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I'm in the bottom of a valley.
Yeah.
So I'm currently, as you can see, I'm driving to the top of the hill.
Good. Yeah.
On the basis that I might get a better signal.
Well, if you get to the top of the hill and light a beacon, and then you can answer my question in like binary, we'll do it that way.
Well, I can just light a fire and do it by smoke signal. It's not a problem.
That'll work. Yeah, so
well, at least your viewers are getting a live view of Cornwall right now. It's quite a nice day, actually.
I know. It's yeah, it's all right here in Worcestershire as well. This is the nicest day we've had in a whole. I haven't seen the sky for a week. Yeah, so yesterday, GB News put out an article saying that petrol and diesel drivers are scrabbling to get rid of their cars to replace them with EVs. That was the headline. Which I thought was absolutely unbelievable, considering that EV sales year on year, that's a huge fly. It's not even a B. EV sales year on year are down, which is interesting. So they're all in on it, aren't they, basically?
Well, that's the interesting thing. I'm glad you brought that up because one of my many fans, a man called Headley Triggs, wonderful name, he sent me that link to that GB News thing and he said, what do you think of this? And I simply replied, it's all bollocks, Headley.
Yeah.
And dealt with it that way. But then, turning around in a farm lane, this is proper Cornish stuff here.
Yeah.
But then, almost about 2 hours after they posted that, they then posted another one completely contradicting that article that they put up.
Right.
Which made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I haven't got my iPad on me, so I can't look. But yeah, so basically what they said was everyone's buying milk floats, nobody's buying petrol or diesel anymore. And then they did another story about six hours later saying exactly the opposite.
Yeah. So,
well, the thing is, in August, sales were that bad of cars that actually the sales percentage of milk floats did go up in August.
Yeah.
But that's only because sales of everything were down so much. And the few milk floats that did get registered as a higher percentage.
Well, I looked into this yesterday. When GB News put that article out, I thought, I'm going to do some research on this. If you look at the sales statistics for August, sales of petrol cars were down by 5,000 units. Sales of diesel cars were down by 500 units. So that would stand to reason then, if what they're saying is correct. That's 5,500 cars. That should be then 5,500 people that have gone and bought EVs. but that's not the case because EVs were only up by just less than 2,000. So there's 3,500 people gone missing from the data that have not gone and replaced their petrol or diesel car with an EV because they're buying hybrids because people don't want the electric technology. Most of the people that are buying new cars, as we know, are business users anyway, and those business users are incentivized into those hybrids. So the answer is no one's buying cars because they're skint, and the people that are being forced to buy cars through their companies are doing everything they can to not have an electric one.
Right, well, I've got you've summed it all up. Right, cheers then. Thanks for coming, Geoff. Bye.
That was EV day. What, are you driving any EVs lately? Are you doing any EV in?
Funny enough, right, there's a video coming out on this very soon.
Yeah.
But I am no longer delivering like what I used to.
Right.
And the reason for that is a very simple one. Speeding.
Speeding. You've been doing too much of it.
Yeah, funny enough, you remember I did a video on a Skoda Octavia VRS?
Yeah, you like
I
that,
ragged it round the back lanes of Taunton and said what a brilliant...
What kind of camera was it? Was it a fixed camera or was it one of these vans or?
This was a fixed one.
Yeah.
But then I also got caught by a van on the M6.
Oh.
And earlier on in the year, I got caught down at Truro on the 30-mile-an-hour one.
Yeah.
And I already had 3 points from last year.
Right. So it's just now
you don't need to be Stephen Hawking to get to 12.
No, I guess there is that. So
the big fleet companies won't touch you if you've got more than 6.
Right.
So therefore, my EV delivering days are currently suspended.
Right. So we're going to be seeing Tony down at Halfords buying himself a new Carrera. It's going to be reviews of the 2-wheel kind.
Yeah, there is a possibility that I will be reviewing electric bikes in the very near future. Yeah, but as long as no magistrates are watching this, I've dragged it out for as long as I can. All right, I'm already up 5 months.
Yeah.
You know, I've left it till the last minute. I've pled guilty on the 28th day. One of them seems to have disappeared for the time being.
Yeah.
So
someone in the comments here saying everyone got done on those 30-mile-an-hour cameras into Truro. And funnily enough,
well, weirdly, I was driving an Audi TT.
Yeah.
With the 225 BAM engine in it, the nice one. I had a convertible last year that I had kept it for a couple of years because I just liked driving it. Yeah. And eventually sold it on. But just before I sold it, I took it down to my mate's garage in Helston to have something done to it. Can't remember what. Oh, the roof. And then on the way back, I was just dawdling along at a whole 37 miles an hour.
Yeah. And that's quite a big road, isn't it? That main road into Truro.
As the person in the comments quite rightly, everyone got done on those 20 into Truro. Yes, Dylan, I'll read that now. And another thing that I've got a lot of stories coming up. The next one is I can't read my phone anymore unless I do this.
Oh, right.
And you know why? Because at the tender age of 51, I have been diagnosed with cataracts.
Really?
Really?
You're going to have to go to the vets then.
Yeah. Well, it turns out, because I wear varifocals, they can actually take the old lens out of your eye when they treat the cataracts and put in a varifocal lens.
Get out. That makes you like a bionic human.
It does, yes. I mean, it would probably qualify me for the Paralympics or something.
I think anything qualifies you for the Paralympics these days. As long as you're not competing against people who've got the same genitalia as you, then they let you in.
Well, I could identify as something, I suppose.
Yeah. Could identify as someone that hasn't got 12 points.
Yeah, I could identify as the driver. See that? See that going past me there? Yeah. I just sold that 3 Series to him.
Did you? Can't beat a 3 Series, can you?
It's a beauty.
So will you continue to document the downfall of the EV world then whilst you're not driving? You're gonna have to.
Well, again, I'm hoping that no dealers are watching this, because my plan is to book in some test drives
Yeah.
and then go and secretly fill them. So
Yeah.
there's a dealer in St Austell doing this Akodo Chinese crap that
Saw one of them. There's what I drove past one in Taunton on Saturday night. It was like
no.
Umudo or Ood. Yeah, I did a U-turn outside the dealership, and I was like, "What the heck is that?"
Oh no, I
Some
thought you meant you'd seen one on the roads.
no, I
They
saw
don't
on the
exist
road.
on the roads. They only
I did,
exist in showrooms.
I did see my first. I saw my first BYD Dolphin on Saturday. First time I've ever seen one on the road.
Have you seen what's the Seal is the one you want?
The Seal.
The Seal is the cheapest one.
Yeah.
It's 33 to 35 grand, I think.
Yeah.
But if they can get through the tariffs, they're going to launch it in America under the Seagull
The Seagull.
in America, and that will be available for how much, Geoff? Have a guess.
Which one's the Seagull? Is that top of the range or bottom of the range?
That's the tiny one, the smallest one.
Smallest one in America. It's got to be $20,000.
No, China are trying to take over the world, remember? They have put a list price on it of $9,900.
You are kidding me. I didn't know that.
Seven
So
and a half grand.
that's wild. This morning I watched Hoovy's Garage. If you watch Hoovy's, did a really good video where he walked around a lot of the main forecourts in the USA, just talking about the price of there's a lot of trucks and stuff, but the cost of cars has gone that wild that's why I said 20,000. Having watched his video, where like your basic trucks are now starting at 40, 50. If they come in at $10,000 with that, that's going to decimate the USA car market.
Well, that's exactly the plan, isn't it? Which is why they're trying to bring in all these tariffs to stop it happening. They've already done it in Europe.
Yeah.
So the problem is that when you're reliant on China for everything,
Yeah.
particularly when you're a European car maker and all your components come from China, and the European Union turn around and say, you can't sell your cars here, we're going to tariff you out of it. So then naturally, China will turn around and go, oh, how much were your components last year? They've just gone up.
Yeah. And the other thing is,
That's basic business.
Well, the other thing is the Chinese just build a factory over here and then they get around the tariffs, don't they? And I saw in the news, was it this morning, that BYD are looking to put a car factory somewhere. It'll be in the northeast, won't it? It'll be in the northeast or in the north, somewhere where they need a bit of work, where there's not many jobs. And then it'll be in the news being like, oh, isn't this great? We've got this new car manufacturer who's going to set up here and give us, however many jobs. It's just a way to get around the tariffs so they can sell the cars over here.
Well, look, the world's on its arse, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't deny that. I mean, in every which way as well. That's the problem, isn't it?
Well, the problem is that when you start dictating to somebody like China, who are a dictatorship, you can't dictate to dictators when they hold all the cards.
Yeah.
Because the minute you start slapping China with tariffs on anything, well, where's your wind turbines coming from? Where's your solar panels coming from? Where's all your climate change shit coming from? It's all coming from China.
Yeah.
So,
do you think people are starting to realise that it's all just one big scam? It feels to me like people are looking at these solar farms and they're looking at the wind farms, they're looking at the government money that's going into it, and it's almost like people are starting to connect the dots and go, hang on a minute, this is all a racket.
yeah, in greater numbers than ever before, but not nearly enough. Because most people go, "Hey, you were right about that, Tone. Yeah, go on then, put something on Facebook about it." No, I can do that.
Yeah. Never underestimate the base level of ignorance from people. I was going to say something about cars, and that was it. Yeah, there we go. So obviously we got the SMMT car sales data that came out for all of Europe just the other day. Best selling car across all of Europe was the Dacia Sandero. So that says to me that A, people don't like spending money, And B, when they do want to spend money, they actually want to buy the simplest possible vehicle. And if it comes out that the Dacia Sandero is the best-selling car in Europe, then don't Ford look ridiculous for axing the Fiesta?
I mean, I haven't seen that stat. I mean, the problem is that whilst it says everything that you say, it also says that people have no taste.
Yeah. I don't mind the little Dacia though, because I mean they're only about 17 grand, I think. Someone just joined my channel as a member. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. I don't really know what the channel memberships do or what they're for. But YouTube told me to set them up, so I did. But welcome. You are now a GEOFFISTA. That's cool.
Yeah, and while you're at it, Jody, get over to EV Carnage and subscribe to my page too. Lovely job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you are watching, do make sure you subscribe to Tony as well, EV Carnage. Comment here, Starmer says you can't smoke in a convertible, Tony.
Yeah, so based on that, if Keir Starmer says I can't smoke in a convertible, have that, Keir.
You watch now. I'll get a notification later on saying this video has been demonetized because Tony was smoking in the open air.
Well, it's a crime now.
Someone there saying Morrison's have put LPG up to £1.29 a litre. I remember when LPG was 29p.
I used to pay 79p.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that was 2019. I had a Range Rover that ran on LPG.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way to run a Range Rover, isn't it? But LPG is an incredibly clean fuel, which again, you think if we're trying to save the planet and trying to save the environment and trying to make things last, LPG would have been a really good way to go. But instead, they demonize it, don't they? LPG has been pushed out, and there's less and less places that you can actually get LPG now. So, yeah. I'm just catching some of these comments. I hear red diesel is still cheap. Yeah, if you can find somewhere to get it. People are saying we sound like we've both got lisps. I've caught chemtrails, so I've had a heavy cold for the last week, which is why I haven't put that much YouTube content out, apart from when
Keeps going out. Well, I haven't caught chemtrails, and I haven't got a lisp. And I will now be concentrating really hard on my S's so I don't sound like biggest dickus.
Why have you got a lisp? You sound like you've been to the dentist.
No, I haven't got a lisp. What are you on about? I ain't got a lisp. Accuse me of having a bloody speech impediment. Not Jonathan Ross.
Speech impediment. Yeah. Yes. Talking about red diesel, right? Someone here says you can filter out the red dye out of red diesel using cat litter. The other thing of that is, and this was said to me by someone the other day who knows a lot about a lot of stuff, if you keep a bottle of red ATF fluid, right, automatic transmission fluid, and you've got an older diesel, ATF fluid is a really good way to clean your injectors out. So if they dip your tank and it comes back red, you just go, oh yeah, I'm just using ATF fluid to clear my injectors. That was a little tip that was told to me the other day. Right.
Well, Red X is red after all.
Exactly. So Red X would do it. CNG and LPG have been a driving fuel since the 70s, but they've never promoted it. Something with oil money. Yeah, that's right, because manufacturers have always made or dabbled in building biofuel cars that run on CNG or LPG. If you go back to the original Volvo brochures from the 90s, Volvo were developing cars that you could buy from the factory that were LPG or CNG. And like you say, it's just been pushed out of the way, and all of this electric stuff has just been pushed back in. But I mean, we know that the electric stuff is only ever about control, don't we? So, that's that. The AMI sales and Twizy have vanished. What happened to cheap, affordable EV and the new models?
Oh, well, I love a Twizy.
I like a Twizy, yeah, because it's different, and that's what EV transport should have been about. It should have been small, lightweight.
When you produce a car that has doors as an optional extra, that's proper.
Yeah, because there's only so many in the history of cars that have been made with doors as an optional extra, and they're always really cool. Like, do you remember the Smart Crossblade?
No, but I've just remembered a Renault Twizy story. My mate who runs the Northall Bay Motor Auctions had a Renault Twizy to sell, and I said, "Bass it, That's mine. I'm on my way down now. I've got to have that. And he rang me back and he went, don't bother. So why not? He said, it won't charge.
Wow.
True story.
And it wouldn't have been that old either, would it?
Oh, they've been around for years.
Which is it?
2010?
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, but I mean, that 2010, the oldest it can be is 14. If I drive around a 14-year-old car, I feel like an absolute baller. It's about the newest thing. I never drive anything that's less than 20. Yeah. What am I in now? Oh, no, hang on. I'm lying. This is a 95. Does that make it 19? Or does that make it 29? That makes it 29, doesn't it?
29.
Yeah, there you go then. This one's great. This is actually, do you know which car this is? This is the one that you collected from Cornwall. Remember I sent you to get that Volvo?
Yeah.
Well, I bought it back.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was a really good one. It's only done 78,000
That's
miles.
a beauty.
Drives lovely, doesn't it? It drives like new. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
Did drive really well.
29 years old. It's still got the original. In fact, I'll show you. Hang on. Let me pull this up here a sec. Flip the camera around. Look at that. I got my original tape deck. Single din as well. Normally, these were double. They were bigger ones, right? It's really rare to find a Volvo with the single din stereo and the factory original tray. Beautiful. £1,000 worth of car, and the government want me to give this up. I love it. It's a great car. Oh, what am I doing here? I'm trying to put my phone mount back up. What else is
Earlier on in the comments, there was a guy who said he had 3 Maestro vans on LPG and he did 1 million miles in it.
Epic.
That's got to be a record.
Isn't LPG is quite kind to the engine, I think, isn't it? Because it burns really clean.
Well, it's clearly quite kind to the bodywork and chassis because they should have dissolved long before that.
Oh, those Maestros were absolutely shocking for that. Hey, did you see? I put a video out the other day about Alfa Romeo put out a press release saying you shouldn't wash your car in September. He's deaf.
No, I'm stunned by that. I need to know more context.
Right, so basically, it was a really weird article that I found that was trying to promote saving water, and for some reason, Alfa Romeo's name was on it. So the head of marketing for Alfa Romeo said you should wash your car less to save water, and I thought it was like a big joke about don't wash your Alfa Romeo just in case it rusts away. But it's just bizarre. I don't understand why. Why would Alfa Romeo put their name to an article like that? It's just really strange.
Clearly, they need to carry favour with some emissions testers somewhere.
It must be. Yeah, either that or they're just desperate to stay in the news. Because, I mean, do Alfa Romeo produce an EV? Have they got an EV in the range?
Yes, the Junior.
Right.
I don't like to talk about it, Geoff. It makes me upset.
But the thing, they don't have a choice, do they? If they've got this electric vehicle mandate and everybody else is going EV, you've got to at least have one in the range. But I wouldn't imagine that it's a homegrown one. It'll either be a homemade Alpha that has got some shoe-on Chinese tech in it, or it's just a Chinese thing with an Alpha badge on it.
It's a Jeep.
Oh, it's the Jeep. Right.
It's the running gear on the new little Jeep, apparently. So they're on all the Alpha forums. That's what they were saying.
But isn't that little Jeep a Fiat 500 anyway?
Well, it would be part of the Stellantis group, so that's highly likely.
Right, there you go then. So your new electric Alfa Romeo is actually a Fiat.
It's the Fiat 500 Plus.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
fat version. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, glad we sorted that one out then. Cool. What about the Rolls Royce? Because it is EV day. What about the Rolls Royce 400 grand electric vehicle? Who's having one of them?
I had to self-edit then because I guarantee you we would have fallen foul of the community standards if I'd said the word that instantly came into my mouth. But we all know what I'm thinking, and we all know those are the people that are going to buy them.
Is that the same word that you use for people that have a hat on the back parcel shelf?
That's the one. You've got it. Yeah. Footballers, they'll have one.
Yeah.
Because they only ever drive from their house, mansion, to the training ground and
Yeah.
back. That's the only place football, or they drive it into a lamppost.
Yeah.
I was watching that Matt bloke doing, not Sterling, Marcus Rashford's Rolls Royce,
Yeah.
putting it all back together after he wrapped it around a lamppost. And yeah, they don't do any miles in them, do they? So they'd be all right with a Rolls Royce milk float.
Well, they're not allowed to go anywhere, are they? Because they're all under contract. And if you've got a game every week, it's not like they're doing big road trips midweek. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. And if they are going anywhere far away, they're using a plane. So
Yeah.
there's a good bit of consumer advice there, isn't there? If you want to buy yourself a low mileage car that's only been used to potter around, go knock on the door of your local footballer and see if you're selling his car. Although chances are it'll be a horrible colour with a lot of terrible accessories. The Time Profit says, Geoff buys cars. Do you sell cars as well? Well, it depends, really. I tell you what, I haven't been able to sell anything lately. I've had a few things on Facebook Marketplace, and I have not had a sniff. What's your experience in that, Tone? How do you think the second-hand market is?
Well, I broke up there for a bit. I think one of your weather planes must have flown over or something, and affected my signal, because the temperature's dropped by about 10 degrees here. So I'm just re-roofing. So what was the question?
Question was, how's the second-hand car market, and are people just skint and sitting on their hands? Worcestershire to Tony. Is he there?
I'm still, I'm here. I'm gonna move. Clearly the signal was gone from where I was parked.
Well,
so,
welcome to 2024. Like in the old days, you used to have a mobile phone and it would work wherever you went. And now you have to drive around with your mobile phone to find somewhere where it actually works. Because I've done the same. I'm about a mile up from my house on top of the hill because it's the only place I can get any signal. It's got we go back 20 years. It's brilliant.
It's mental. Anyway, with regard to the second-hand market, it's on its arse like you would not believe.
Yeah.
Nobody is interested in buying anything at any price. It's you used to put stuff on Facebook Marketplace and you get inquiries. All right, 90% of them were Eastern Europeans trying to buy it for £1, but nevertheless, you still got inquiries. You don't anymore.
Yeah. Had a chat message me over the weekend asking if I wanted to buy a perfectly good-looking Saab 9.3 convertible. It was a diesel model, but he said the same. He said he put it on Facebook Marketplace for a reasonable price, and you're talking like 1,500 quid. You know, no money. And again said he not a single message on it. Not even like you say, not even the low ballers. Even the low ballers have given up. Just not a message, not one message.
No, I've got the same thing. I mean, I'm literally selling through word of mouth. So, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
But, no, it's a nightmare. Because everyone's just sticking with what they got. Because if you change now, are they going to change the rules? Nobody knows whether they're going to change the rules or not. What rules are they going to change them to?
Yeah.
So, no, the second-hand market's on its arse, but then again, the new car market's on it. The whole motor industry is on its arse, and it's getting worse, and nobody's doing anything about it. The budget will be a huge one for car industry, because if they say, like we think they're going to say, that they're knocking it back to 2030, which I think is almost certain. I don't think there's any question of that. It's going to go back to 2030 instead of 2035. And they're going to push ahead with the zero emission vehicle mandate. Car manufacturers are right in the shit, big time.
Yeah.
And as I said in my video on the EV Carnage page, if you go and look, it's there in the listings. If you're a car manufacturer and you're told that in 5 years you're not allowed to sell any more petrol cars at all, you're not going to make them up until 2030. You're going to stop making them in 2027 at the latest.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be stuck with all that dead stock that you know you're not going to be able to sell. and it literally becomes worthless overnight.
Yeah.
Because it's not a road-going vehicle anymore. So, unless you take a massive gamble and pre-register everything, and if it's pre-registered, you can sell it as a second-hand vehicle, then, can't you? But it's such a massive gamble.
Yeah. There's some major stuff going on with pre-register. I mean, there's always been issues going on with pre-registering cars, but on the EV front, on Auto Trader, it's absolutely crazy right now. It seems like, was someone said Arnold Clark seem to be knocking out a whole fleet of 2-year-old EVs that have got like between 0 and about 30 miles on the clock. So they bought them 2 years ago from the manufacturers, registered them, and they've just been sat in a field for 2 years. Now, who's going to take a chance on an EV that's been sat in a field for 2 years? It's crazy. Don't matter how much the discount is, it's still too much of a risk.
Here's an interesting one for you. Make a note of some of those cars that Arnold Clark have got like that and see how many of them turn up on Select Leasing.
Oh, yeah.
Are one of those firms that sells cars to people while they're having a pee in the motorway services.
Yeah.
Because they will then pick that up and bang that out at £200 a month on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
And how this works in the world of finance, I don't know. Clearly, it's just money being moved around from one pot to the other. But at the end of that, then they give the car back, and then the car is completely worthless. But then Select Leasing will then give the car back to the people that they leased it off to lease it in the first place.
Yeah, so it's a lease with a sublet on it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm going to be going to see Barry Crampton, who has been documenting this on Twitter as well. Do you know the other thing as well? Apparently, I learned yesterday, in Auto Trader, when you select 2 cars and you can put all the specs in and you can compare them, they're no longer listing the weight of cars on there. They no longer list the curb weight. They've removed it.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Could be because you'd be shocked at just how heavy some of these things are.
Well, I'm not shocked at how heavy these things are. I've been telling everyone how heavy these things are for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Just catching up on some of these comments here. Robert Higgins says, Geoff, please go and see Gaza. Gaza? Which Gaza?
Well, it's either Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Or
he spelt Gaza wrong.
Please go and see Gaza. I'm not quite sure that I fancy that. Tony sounds so funny with shite signal. There you go, Tony. You're a comedian just because your signal's low.
Well, I'll take anything I can get. A laugh's a laugh.
Yeah, exactly. The diesel price seems to be holding their value very well, but electric is dying quickly in the used car market. I just bought myself an electric vehicle, a 2020 Hyundai Kona, $7,500. Really? See that again? Like that's no money. How much were they when they were new? Like 30, 35?
You're just under 40.
Yeah. So you've got yourself like 30 and a bit £1,000 discount there. That's wild, isn't it?
That's 80% depreciation.
Yeah. And
Quite
again,
good, that.
I feel like there's going to come a point where you and I are going to have to start advising people to buy these things because they're going to be so damn cheap. I don't think we'll ever get there. But
I've stuck to my guns on that one.
Yeah.
Because my old next door neighbour, sent me a message last week saying, can you sell my Honda CRV for me? It's a 64 plate. It's done 48,000 miles.
Yeah.
Full leather interior, all the extras. It's an executive package. Yeah, no problem. I'll sort that out for you. Also, I'm looking for a 2021 Nissan Leaf Techna.
Right.
So I ignored the first part of the message, which would involve me making some money. I just went straight to the second part of the message and said, are you mad?
Yeah.
You're buying a 4-year-old, 3-year-old Nissan Leaf. By the time you buy that, the batteries have already died. I think after 4 years, those Leafs can do a range of about 50 to 60 miles an hour on a full charge.
Yeah. I think the evangelists would say to us that the technology changed between different generations of Leaf, but you're not wrong. I looked at there was a Nissan Leaf that popped up on Auto Trader for a couple of grand, and I think it had 40 miles range by that point, and that was it.
I remember us having that conversation.
The other one that I was tempted to buy was what's the Renault? There's a Renault electric car.
Zoe.
No, not the Zoe. It's a saloon. It's I forget the name of it. It's a Fluence. You ever seen the Renault Fluence?
Bless you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a 4-door saloon, and they did a diesel and they did an electric one. And there was a Fluence on eBay. I think it was 1,500 quid, but it had 30 miles range left. 30 miles, and it was miles away. And I was joking with a few friends of mine. I was like, we'd have to go and get it in like convoy. You do 30 miles a time trying to get it 300 miles home. It'd take you forever and cost you a fortune.
The planning involved in that would be mind blowing.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. And I can't plan anything to save my life, and I still will stand by this. Like, I like with a petrol and diesel car, I can fill the tank and then I don't have to think about it. I don't need to think about it.
You'd have to, like, if you're coming down the M6, you would have to stop at every single services, and there's a couple where you would be touch and go whether you could get in between them.
Yeah, you would down the M6. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you went on the A roads, you'd have no chance because there's less charging infrastructure. You would never be able to do it. That would require Hitler levels of planning.
I feel like that almost makes me want to do it for a video. It'd be funny, wouldn't it?
It'd be brilliant.
Right, if that car pops up for sale again, I'll buy it. And it will pop up for sale because the person who's bought it, like, what are you going to do with a car that's only got 30 miles range? There's so few people that actually works for. So it will come up for sale again.
And when it does, I will join you in the passenger seat.
Yeah, it'll be one very long podcast. Boys, how fast do you reckon this government will have to step down? I don't think they will. They've got their agenda. They're ticking off their list of things that the World Economic Forum have asked them to do, and they're doing pretty well at that. So no, we won't be getting rid of them.
I think it's a popular misconception that there's some sort of democracy in this country. And the fact that because people don't like the government will somehow go, oh, we're really sorry, we'll step aside and let somebody else in. They couldn't give a shit what you think, as has been proven by the first 2 months. They do not care. And the vote tomorrow will be very interesting to see how many MPs think, well, I'll do me 5 years. That'll do me. But the second thing is that it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if Rishi Sunak was still Prime Minister. We would still be doing all these things.
I think
it's just like watching Sooty and... Here, look. It's like watching Bagpuss, right? And Bagpuss has been running the country. And he goes, ooh, time for bed. And he goes off to bed. And Professor Yaffle comes out of his bookcase and takes over and runs the country in exactly the same way. So, nice Bagpuss analogy there. And that is it. It doesn't matter who runs the country. It doesn't matter who runs America. It doesn't matter who runs... Well, it doesn't matter who runs Europe, because if the wrong people get in, they'll just change the rules. As has been proven in Holland, France, Germany, Belgium. Where else? There's an Eastern European country where they've done it as well now, isn't there? Where if the far right get in, they just change the rules. Look at what France did. France went, oh shit, we could end up having a government here that wants to do something different to what we're being told to do. So we'll just all join together, change the rules, mess it around a bit, and we end up with Macron as president again.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's an illusion. I mean, they always said that. Mark Twain once said that if democracy was allowing people to have a say in things, they'd never let them vote.
Yeah.
Something like that. That wasn't his exact quote.
That wasn't his exact quote, but you weren't far off. Basically, if your vote was able to change anything, we wouldn't be allowed to do it. It'd be too dangerous. That was a great point.
What do you think, Mr. Live from Texas, man? Silvercat151, he's just said, hi from Texas, guys. Right, come on in, mate. What do you think of the situation with Harris and Trump? Put it in the comments. Let's see what you got to say. Because we're international now, Geoff. You realise that?
I always find it quite odd that when I find that we've got international people, watching our channels, it's I guess what also worries me is when people are watching my videos and going here, yeah, the same's going on here, and you look at the country they're from and you're like, oh bloody hell, it's everywhere. Like we know that a lot of Europe is going the same way, but to see America collapsing at the rate that it is as well is pretty scary.
And then rather than worry about what's going on in their own country, interfere in Argentina and Venezuela instead.
Well, there's all sorts going on everywhere at the minute. There's a couple of podcasts that I think everybody should listen to that I've listened to over the weekend, right, on Joe Rogan. Think what you like about him. But there is Chris Harris from Top Gear fame has done a great podcast with Joe Rogan where he talks about everything that happened at Top Gear, everything that happened with the electric car agenda, and obviously Freddie Flintoff's crash. So that podcast is well worth a listen. Then the latest Brett Weinstein podcast is very good, and Jordan Peterson. So I could highly recommend going and listening to them to help understand where we're at in the world. But the Chris Harris one is pretty fascinating, with talking about how far he sort of, after Top Gear finished after the Freddie Flintoff crash, Chris Harris goes into a lot of detail about like how he sort of sunk into depression. And there was a real good bit where he said through his Top Gear years, he'd built up like a really good collection of single malt whiskey, like a respectable collection. And apparently a month after Top Gear finished, he'd gone through the whole lot. But it was quite a good podcast actually, because you feel like you get to know him a lot better on all that sort of stuff, and how corrupt the BBC were, and how he told them there was going to be an accident. And then Jordan Peterson talking about where we're at politically is terrifying.
I'm gonna have to watch that Chris Harris thing. Have you seen the Freddie Flintoff cricket thing?
No.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good. If only to see how Freddie Flintoff's doing now.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of reconstructive surgery he's had done is phenomenal.
Well, this is what Chris was saying on the podcast. I didn't realise that it was a Morgan 3-wheeler, wasn't it? He rolled a 3-wheeler with no helmet on.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've even got a roll bar. So you can imagine what that's going to do to your face.
It's literally, you can see where it must have just gone like that and ripped his entire face off.
Yeah, and I think this comes across on the Chris Harris podcast as well. I think the people, obviously Freddie Flintoff was massively affected by what happened because it happened to him. But the people that were around him as well, the impact that it had on them was absolutely profound. Because Chris Harris says that he'd been telling the BBC for some time that there was going to be a major accident. Someone was going to get killed based on what they were trying to do with the program. But I don't know. It's good to see him back on his feet after all of that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, Paul there comments saying, I saw the Chris Harris thing about the Flintoff crash. The BBC seemed to not care about his life. Yeah, and again, if you listen to the podcast, Joe Rogan and Chris Harris, he talks about the fact that Chris wanted access to like the investigation, to try and help, and they wouldn't even give him any information as to what they'd turned up on it. And that the BBC's own investigation obviously didn't come to anything. There was nothing that came of it. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to see that perspective from it. It sort of went off on a tangent there, but yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, if because Flintoff's back on the BBC, I would imagine a hefty amount of cash, followed by guaranteed future earnings, would have been put on the table, and then obviously a massive NDA.
Well, I think if you put yourself in his shoes, the number next to the pound sign has to be unlimited, doesn't it? Based on what's happened and what it's done to you, their response has to be an unlimited amount of money. It's the only way that anything could carry on as it is.
Look, Village Life. Can I turn that round? Oh, I can't turn it round. Horses are just going past me.
If you click you can turn it round if you click the arrows button.
Oh, yeah, I can see it now. I couldn't see it. My cataracts must have been in the way.
That's it, yeah. They've got people in the comments saying that you're in a drug dealer central.
Who said that?
Someone further up the comments said that Tony sat somewhere. Who's that? Farang Travels says, what's that? Is that 90 million? 90 million would I suppose sort you out. Rogan needs to stop.
Oh, it's Dan Villa. It's Dan Villa that said that, and that's the guy that I sold the 3 Series to that drove past.
Oh, right. So you sold him a car, he drove past you, and now he's here on the live feed.
Yeah.
I expect any minute now he needs to knock on your window with the coffee for you.
I know, he lives just down the road.
Love it. The Journinator says Joe Rogan needs to stop being a child and get over Clarkson's Tesla test. I'd like to see Jeremy Clarkson on Joe Rogan. I reckon that'd be a good one. Good, like 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that Clarkson no longer cares. And I think anyone that no longer cares is immensely dangerous. Because he will just say exactly what he thinks. And to be fair, he said however many years ago about milk floats that you're buying something that's been mined from around the world, sent around the world, built around the world, and then done 3 laps of the world by the time you get in it, and somehow you're going to save the planet. No. So he's been right.
It's a brilliant little clip, wasn't it? That is, I know the clip you mean. It's that clip where he sat at like a cafe in London and he says it all off the cuff.
Yeah.
And it went very viral because it just resonated because it was correct. But I think then what you're saying there is if we were to make a prediction over the next few years, Clarkson will get more vocal and then be afflicted by some illness that takes hold quite quickly and wipes him out in no time at all. That's probably what will happen, wouldn't it?
No, he's all right at the moment because he's making Amazon money, isn't he?
Yeah, but as soon as that stops, or if he upsets people too much, he's done a great job of bringing the farming to the forefront and telling people what's going on in farming and food production.
Oh, exactly. We could reveal that to the viewers, couldn't we? That we're going on a grand tour.
The plan is to go on a grand tour. To go and hit all of the places that the 3 are now doing. So what is it? It's Hammond's workshop,
smallest cog garage,
smallest cog, Clarkson's new restaurant, and James May's pub.
Now we'll go to we got Clarkson. We got to go to 3. We got to go to Diddley Squat. Then we got to go to the brewery. Then we got to go to the pub, and then we got to go to James May's pub.
I think the problem that we might have there though is actually getting in these places. I think getting in Clarkson's restaurant.
Once they know who we are, Geoff.
Yeah,
we certainly won't get in.
No, exactly. I've been to Clarkson's farm. I managed to go to Clarkson's farm at the tail end of last summer. We had a really nice, relaxing pint, but it was on our 3rd attempt because on the previous 2 attempts you could not get in the car park. So yeah, 3rd try we managed to get a beer at Clarkson's farm.
Well, I was there when the car park was a swamp.
Yeah,
and so I didn't see anything. But I did get to test drive a BMW 330e that day because that's what I picked up from Chip in Norton.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. 330e, obviously, launched to the 330e and the 530e are cars that were just built to sell to business users, and they make absolutely zero sense. I think of all of it, right? The whole EV agenda, everything. I think that's what annoys me the most. The fact that business users who do high mileage are incentivized into cars that are now hybrid and therefore are much worse on fuel and as a result worse for the planet. I think that's what annoys me the most.
You can add into worse on fuel, worse for the planet, and never need an emissions test.
Yeah, exactly. So we went down to Devon a few weeks ago, and we met some of our friends down there. My friend's got a company car, so he's obviously got one of these plug-in hybrids. I went down in the Peugeot that does 51 miles to the gallon, and he went down in his car that he does 100,000 miles in for work, and it did 28 miles to the gallon. So why is it that the government thinks that it's better for that car to be using twice as much fuel and therefore costing his company twice as much as the Skoda Superb that they gave him before, the diesel one? It's just utter insanity, isn't it? It drives me wild, that does, because I think the reason it drives me so wild is because it's so freaking obvious.
Oh, don't say freaking. That's an American thing. Even
Sorry,
that bloke from Texas is offended by you doing that.
I've got too many
Either
flies.
swear properly or don't swear at all.
No, you can't be swearing on YouTube though. That's the problem. I'm just going to let this fly out. Go on. It's all right. He's gone. Major wildlife issues today. There's no bees though. It's just all flies.
Well, at least you got insects.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory, isn't it? Well, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Look, Dirk from Texas says even I'm offended. I'm freaking sorry.
See, they're all piling in on you now because of your stupid childish talk.
I have a couple of Americanisms. I'm proud of my little Americanisms I have. Right, I'm just going at the comments here, see what we missed. Someone said remove your number plates. Right. I posted. I don't know if I should say it.
No, don't.
No.
Leave that. Put
People,
it this way, we're ahead of the game there, all right?
yeah, exactly. Put it that way. The Time Prophet says, Geoff, you can swear on YouTube as long as you don't swear in the first 5 minutes of a stream. Oh, that's good. Another one here. Here's a good one. Did you watch the YouTube from Mark McCann on car insurance? Have you seen that, Tony?
Don't wash your number plates in September. No, I haven't.
Basically, Mark McCann did an expose on the car insurance industry, and it turns out the car insurance is a gigantic scam. I mean, who saw that coming?
Do you want a live example? The A4 convertible I'm sitting in right now, when Melissa went to renew the insurance on it, bearing in mind I have hefty points.
Yeah.
To put me on it with her, we're both over 50 with 20 years no claims or whatever. They wanted 900 quid.
900 quid.
So we've left it for however many months, but this has been sat doing nothing. So then we went to renew it, and I got a quote that if I did it on my insurance, it was 500. All done on Compare Me a Cat.
Yeah.
So exactly the same comparison, exactly the same information, no information updated, just get new quotes. So I got 500. Melissa, previously quoted 900, was quoted 209.
Makes no sense, does it?
I need to get Joan on for this, my son. He's all over this insurance algorithm and how on certain days of the year it's cheaper than other days because he's 21 and he went to insure a Touareg. He wanted me to get him a Touareg 5-litre V10.
Oh, the diesel one.
Cheaper to insure that than a 320D.
Make it make sense. Again, this is what Mark McCann found in his video. Depending on the time of day and the different parameters that you put in, you're getting wildly different quotes, which says that insurance is just a scam. It's just a made-up scam, isn't it? And the fact that it's a legal requirement as well. You should always be suspicious of something that the government makes you have. Hashtag medical interventions during COVID. But the government forces you to have car insurance. So the government is forcing you to go spend money within a certain industry. So why would you then think that that industry is going to be run honestly? You have to be in the market for something. They can do what they want because you have to be there.
Well, the way Jonah described it and why he's so obsessed with the car insurance, well, presumably because, like me, he changes his car every 5 minutes. Yeah. Incidentally, he's just got a 159 Sport Wagon 2.4 diesel. Oh, my word, what a thing. Anyway, that's beside the point. He said it's like the stock
what
insurance. It's a really, really strange blue. I've never seen an Alpha in this colour before. It's like a powder blue.
Nice.
I'll get him to feature in a video at some point. He said that car insurance is like the stock market, and the fluctuations behind the car insurance is a car insurance stock market, and people moving money about, and depending on where they move their columns of money on that day at that time to make the most money will depend on what price your car insurance is. It's got nothing to do with risk.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's doing that, and it depends whether you come in at there or there, and on what day, and where they're moving their money around that day. They may be heavily invested in Renault Aventimes, and so you're going to insure that for 50p, and then the next day they've sold all their Aventime shares, and you end up paying $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. But it's like everything in this world. It's all done behind weird closed doors that we have absolutely no access to. We have no clue about what's going on, and we're just pissing in the dark.
I think the other thing about that as well is nothing is connected to anything anymore. You know, in the old days, you'd have your pound coin, and your pound coin would be correlated to an associated amount of metal in a bank vault somewhere. But they disconnected, you know, currency from the gold standard. Then they allowed fractional reserve banking, and since fractional reserve banking, now it's just anything goes. It's just all totally made up. And I think South Park summed it up the best. Was it, you know, the South Park episode on the banking crisis where they are deciding whether or not to bail out a bank by running the chicken around the big wheel, and they chop his head off and they work out where the chicken lands, and then that's the decision that they make. And you realize that all of this stuff that we presume that there's complex systems that make sense behind the things that run our day-to-day lives, but the more you research about it, you realize it really is just, it's moving again.
I'm bloody starving.
Yeah, we've done an hour, so I can let you go now.
Well, I'm quite happy to carry on. I'm a proper Cornishman. I'm off in search of a pasty.
Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, I should have driven down. Where are you getting your pasty from?
Well, I might as well head home now. So, Oggy One Pasty Company.
869 people in the comments who all want to place an order. What are we going? We're going steak. We're going steak and Stilton. Traditional, cheese and onion.
See, Geoff, you nearly made me swear. You nearly made me swear then. There's only one type of pasty. That's a pasty. Anything else that's got cheese or any manner of stupid ingredient in it, it's not a pasty. It's a pastry product.
A pastry product.
Pasty is a pasty. It's got beef, turnip, onion, potato, bit of salt and pepper. That's it. Don't fuck about. Don't mess around with it. That's a Cornish pasty. Anything else with any other ingredients is just Greg's.
You forgot Swede.
I said turnip.
Is that the same thing?
It's not a Swede in Cornwall, it's turnip.
Right, okay, got you.
Otherwise, when you had a turnip and teddy pie, which is basically a pasty without the meat, you wouldn't call it a turnip and teddy pie, you'd call it a Swede and teddy pie. And what would be the point of that? That just doesn't sound good, does it?
Can I also agree with you and then back you up and take it one step further, right? Why do pasties come in a variety of sizes? Should just be one.
Right.
The large one.
Hang on, you broke up then.
I was saying, why can you order a pasty in different sizes?
No! I'm back. Right, what are you saying about pasties?
I'm saying they should only come in large. Who wants a small pasty? He's gone again, look. He's frozen completely now. In a minute, we'll see if we can get him on, you know, them pasties that they did where it was like half and half? Then you'd have a traditional pasty in one end and then like a rhubarb and cream at the other. Now, Tony's gone completely, look. Oh, even my signal's going really, really slow now. Geoff Boscars, our financial system should be called bullshit baffles brains. Yeah, you're not wrong. Andy Rollo says he ate all the pies. He ate all the pasties. I've always called them turnips, but he used to live in Wales. Come on, a turnip and a Swede is not the same thing. Are they? Back. I'm staggered, right? If I've learned something from this live feed, it's the fact that a turnip and a Swede is the same thing. I can't believe that they are.
We're still talking about pasties?
Yeah, well, I'd said there should only be one size. It should be a one size fits all, shouldn't it? None of this like, oh, I'll have a small broccoli and cheese. Like, look, you're having a large steak, and that's all we sell. Keep messing with my camera because it keeps overheating.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I can hear you.
Right, there should only be one size of pasty, but you know that's Thatcher's Britain for you. I'm currently in a place called Par, which is officially slightly below sea level, which might explain my lack of signal.
Right. But like according to global warming, then I assume you're gonna have to put your wellies on because you're going to be up to your knees in seawater.
Video coming up on that, Geoff.
I'd like to see that, yeah.
Because I could document the sea's retreat in this area over the last 500 years. So I'm going to do exactly that.
Yeah. Because I mean that's the awkward. Yeah.
Well, the road I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I'm on Par Harbour Road. 200 years ago, this was underwater.
Yeah.
And now it's not.
Yeah.
How's that working?
Global warming. Backwards. Someone says Swede is a Swedish turnip. I'm going to do some research on this Swede versus turnip thing because I can't believe Swedes have yellow flesh while turnips have white. There you go. Swede is a Swedish turnip, hence the name Swede. They are bigger and tougher skinned, yellow fleshed, and much harder than a turnip. Turnips are smaller ones with smoother skin. A turnip is a wimpy Swede. He's gone again. He's frozen in a really funny position, or he's sat really still. But there's 750 people watching me try to keep this live stream going while Tony does his own thing and comes and goes as he pleases. It's really funny. But I feel like we did EV Day proud. Cryptic Sniper, my EE signal was absolute shit all day on Friday. Then I watched Jeff's videos to see that he was having the same trouble. Yeah, my signal was terrible. My signal is just terrible all the time. Apart from if I sit here, this is the only spot that I've got signal. He's gone. He's gone completely now. I reckon we might call it, ladies and gentlemen. I reckon that might be the end of the live feed. The sun is shining, and I might have to go out and get out amongst it. I've got a couple of videos to make today, so I'm going to get those made. And then I'll be... What are we doing after that? I had to talk for 2 hours when the host to a stream got ill. Yeah, I could do that. I could talk for 2 hours. I can't believe the number of flies that I'm having to deal with today, and also the temperature and the weather. I'm going to go out and get amongst the weather because the weather's actually good. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and lots of content coming up later in the week. More with this Volvo as well, I reckon. More with the Volvo. I really want to pass you now, and I bet all you lot do as well. Thanks, everyone. See you again.